we're a political show, and we got to talk politics at some point. But I struggle trying to find interesting topics for the audience each week. I don't care about the guests because they know everything. But this is a struggle sometimes. Now, John Nance Garner, who served as vice president to Franklin Delano Roosevelt, is credited with saying that the job of the vice president wasn't worth a warm bucket of spit. There's some debate as to whether he said spit or something else. But yet this past Tuesday, millions of viewers watched the televised debate between vice presidential candidate Governor Tim Walz and Senator J.D. Vance. Mark, if the job is so unimportant as Texas Jack Nance described it, why bother? Did we learn anything?
Ask Harry Truman that, who was vice president for, I think, all of 84 days before he became president. No, I think I will turn this over to Mike, but I think we all can agree that knucklehead shouldn't apply for the job.
Well, and at that point, it's not important until it is, right? It doesn't count till it does. And so I think it's important for people to at least have some understanding of who that person is that may be next in line. They may never do anything, or they could be leading the world, for 3.5 years.
Well, I am a bit of a curmudgeon here on this topic, but was there anything learned about the two candidates at the last debate that we had the other night? Do you have a fuller picture of who they are?
I think we have a fuller picture. I think we really have learned that it pays to do interviews and to be engaged. This in the parliamentary system, you've got prime minister's question. It's an important part of the process to have the back and forth that goes on, or the questioning, what have you. Tim Walz probably would have done a lot better had he done a lot more interviews and had been more engaged with the back and forth that takes place in answering questions.
Well, he should appear on this show. We'd grill him.
There you go.
Right.
I think we learned a lot. I mean, I think actually, I thought it was a reasonable debate. I think they both actually presented themselves pretty well. Obviously, we talked about Senator Vance as being pretty slick. He tried to distance himself from other things he said publicly, and he worked really hard at doing that. I think Governor Walz was, not to Mark's point, certainly took him a little while to get his sea legs, but I think his content was good. I think he clearly understood issues and understands issues and could explain them reasonably well. And honestly, up until where we were in the summer, you had two octogenarian candidates, and I think it's really important, if that's in fact the case, we only have one now, to understand who that next person might be, because it's not crazy to think that if that octogenarian at the top of the ticket doesn't make it, that we're going to see that next person. So I think it's worth it for us to have that dialogue and have that discourse and understand who the next people are.
Well, look, I fully support both of your sentiments that the job of the presidency is important, and the job of the potential successor as from the vice president is important as well. And I gained, a feeling of comfort. I thought candidate Vance did well. I actually thought candidate Walz did well as well. He's been governor and chief executive of a very important state, and so it's not that we have someone inexperienced to succeed if either of the two presidential candidates have to be replaced once they're in office.
One of the things I thought was interesting was the fact that they both clearly took pains to not get into the mud. I mean, they really worked hard to not denigrate each other and to stay kind of on message and on topic. And I thought that was a really interesting tactic on both parts, which I actually kind of appreciated. We haven't seen a lot of that lately, and I thought that part was actually not a bad thing for the country to witness.
Well, I will say that I thought that Vice President Pence was a very moderate man and did not engage in that as the hyperbole as well. So it would be nice to go back to a more rational time period, wouldn't it? But I don't know when that will be.